August 8th, 2019. A private office in Manhattan. Jeffrey Epstein picks up a pen. He signs a document that will control more than $500 million. 2 days later, he is dead in a federal jail cell. The timing was not a coincidence. Every asset he owned, the mansions, the private island, the jet, was about to become the most scrutinized inheritance in modern American history. So who did Jeffrey Epstein trust with his fortune in the final hours of his life? And what did he know that we didn't? But to understand this will, we need to go back to how Epstein built the empire he was now dividing up. By the early 2000s, Epstein had positioned himself as a financial advisor to billionaires. He managed money for Leslie Wexner, the founder of retail giant L Brands. Through that relationship and others, Epstein accumulated properties across 3 countries: a townhouse on Manhattan's Upper East Side, a ranch in New Mexico, a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands called Little St. James. On July 6, 2019, Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey on federal sex trafficking charges. He was denied bail. He was sent to the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. This was the world he was living in when he decided to rewrite his legacy. On August 8th, 2 days before his death, Epstein signed a trust. According to court filings, the document placed his entire estate, reportedly valued at around $577 million, into a structure designed to shield it from public view. It named his longtime lawyer, Darren Indyke, as a witness. And according to unsealed records, it directed his fortune toward at least 44 individuals and entities: friends, employees, business associates, members of his brother's family. This was not a will written by a man planning to fight for his freedom. This was a man closing the books. The reaction was immediate, and it was furious. Victims' attorneys pointed out the obvious. A trust is notoriously difficult to challenge in court, far harder than a simple will. By signing this 2 days before his death, Epstein made it significantly harder for his accusers to reach his money. Prosecutors in New York opened a criminal investigation into the circumstances of his death. The Bureau of Prisons faced congressional hearings after guards assigned to watch him reportedly falsified logs. Meanwhile, attorneys representing dozens of women who say Epstein abused them began preparing civil claims against an estate that was now legally harder to pierce. But what none of them fully grasped yet was how the fight over this money would eventually be resolved. Here is the angle most coverage missed. The complexity of that trust ultimately forced a different outcome. Facing mounting legal pressure, Epstein's estate executors created a private victims compensation program in 2020. According to program administrators, it distributed more than $121 million to over 135 claimants by 2021, without requiring victims to go through years of litigation. The real story isn't just that Epstein tried to protect his fortune from beyond the grave. It's that the scale of outrage over his death forced his own estate to pay out faster and more directly than almost any comparable case in U.S. legal history. The hidden beneficiary of that pressure campaign wasn't a person. It was the survivors themselves, who used public fury as leverage his lawyers never anticipated. So what happens to an estate like this over time? History offers a clear precedent. Complex trusts belonging to deceased figures, from Robert Maxwell to other estate disputes, tend to generate litigation for years, even decades. Little St. James Island was eventually sold in 2023. Other properties were liquidated to fund settlements. Legal experts say portions of the estate's finances may remain under scrutiny as long as federal investigations into Epstein's associates continue. Here's the verdict. Jeffrey Epstein used his final 48 hours to try to control his legacy on his own terms. He did not succeed. Public pressure, journalism, and organized survivors reshaped that trust into something closer to accountability.